Ready?
Yep.
All right. What's up, IWillWillU? Tim Campbell.
Do it again.
Okay. All right. What's up, IWillWillU? Tim Campbell.
And SeMonne Campbell.
And we're at your face again. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Got that 21-day challenge coming up. Make sure you go to IWillWillU.com and check that out. So today's episode, we're going to talk about, I think it was Ronald Reagan that told Gorbachev, tear down this wall. All right, when Germany was inside the Germany. That's like history lesson, but it separated. It was a wall that separated one people from another people, and we do that same thing in our marriage, in our relationships. Is that we build walls that need to be torn down. So we're going to tell you today, tear down this wall. You know, this wall is symbolic. We put up these walls to guard our heart. When we don't want to be hurt, when we feel like our spouse is hurting us, we'll protect our heart and as a defense mechanism. And what that is it's a false sense of security that you build up in your relationship that causes division.
Right. And the reality is there's no wall to be torn down because you think you're protecting yourself, but you're already invested. It's already, we're already one,
Yeah, so there's no reason for it. And it's a false sense of protection. In that false means of protection, what you feel like you're guarding yourself, right? You feel like it's almost to pacify the fear that you feel in your relationship. And I don't know what about for you, but for me and SeMonne, it was a time where we were just bumping heads all the time. And when we bumped heads, you get tired of it. It becomes it creates a wound in the heart, and you almost are at the point where I got to guard against this side. When I played football and I got a shoulder injury, I would favor that side. So when it comes time to tackle somebody, even though they may be on my left side, I'm going to put my right shoulder first, right? That put up that wall of division to protect that side that's hurt. Right. And so, it's almost a fear that couples have, right, that I got to put up this wall because this person keeps damaging this side of me. And the only way I'm going to get protection is to put up this invisible wall.
Right. So you think that you're acting hard. Like I remember, I'm an emotional one, so I would call myself guarding my emotions. So when Tim would upset me and we was in a bad season, I would just not show him any emotion, like wouldn't show him any love. Changing, who I am as a person. And I remember, and then he'll try to come back, and I would be so mean and so angry because I'm like, he's not going to hurt me again. In my head, I'm saying, he's not going to hurt me again. And so I would continue to be mean toward him. And then eventually, I would put my wall down that I had up,
Yeah. You got to be careful of it because marriages is built on trust. A relationship is built on love and understanding, forgiveness, and all of those things. Right. When you put up a wall, it takes away that trust. Right. So what you're communicating is that, okay, you're going to hurt me. In lieu of dealing with that hurt and what's causing that pain, this wall is going to cover it up. And so you take away that trust. When you put up that wall, you can't give all of who you are. Right? You can't love the person unconditionally, right, because you have this wall up. You'll love them on terms, but that wall causes you not to go 100%. You may go 90%, but you're not going to go 100% because you know that there's this hurt. And this is the thing is that if you're in a relationship, you're going to be hurt. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be hurt constantly. And that's the big thing about a relationship is that if you can't accept pain, you shouldn't be in a relationship. Right. Pain comes with the territory. And so to put up that wall, it's a false sense of security, but what you're actually doing is defeating the very thing that's going to help you birth that child. Right. When a woman goes through birth and pregnancy, she has to go through a lot of pain because life can't be born without pain. It's going to take some struggle. It's going to take some hurt. So you're losing out on that greatest benefit of a relationship is that struggle. That struggle helps you move from one place to the next place, from one level to the next level. And if you wall that off, then you're handicapping your relationship, and that's always a no-no.
And I was thinking about one time we was going through something, and imagine if you would have stopped loving me unconditionally.
Right.
You know, if you just started loving me on a condition. And because Tim, no matter what I did to him, he was still loving me. He was forgiving me. I did him real bad, and I hurted him, and I was done. But because he was loving me unconditionally, he loved me regardless what I did to him. He still was in love with me, and he still was there for me. That was the key piece, and because of that, it won me over. You know, him being consistent and loving me unconditionally. And
you know, life is too short for me to give you half of me.
Right.
Life is too short. I want to enjoy all of SeMonne. Right. I don't want 45%. I want 50%. Sure. I need all of it. You know, we're not gonna be here forever. There's one thing that's for sure, is that we're all gonna die one day. So the time that you got on this earth, I think I read a quote that if you're over 30, if you're 30 years old, you have something like 27,000 more days left to live. So every day matters, and that wall says that every day doesn't matter. Like, I got time to and tomorrow's not promised to you. You think you got time to enjoy that side of your relationship. That side will never come. It could be tomorrow. You could be dead and gone. Your spouse could be dead and gone. Why not open up every door, every avenue, explore every piece of your relationship so that you can get significance out of that relationship, so that you can grow and prosper in that relationship. Right. So let's give them a couple tips. If you recognize that you got a wall in your relationship, you got to tear it down. That wall got to come down, okay? That's the theme of this message. And what me and SeMonne say is that first piece, you got to understand that this is going to be a fight. You're used to throwing up that wall as a defense mechanism. That first piece is that you got to prepare for a fight a different way, right? So a boxer walks into the ring knowing it's a possibility, a strong possibility, that you're going to get hurt, that you're going to go through some pain. But the level of that pain depends on the level of your preparation, right? So when you prepare to walk into a relationship ready to fight, what does that look like to you? And so in a challenge, that preparation may look like, okay, I know that this is a vulnerable area. Let me start working on this area. I know what's coming up. I may not be dealing with it right now, but if I know that I'm going to be hurt in this area, that my spouse is always letting me down in this area, what am I going to do early? How am I going to prepare for that? How am I going to communicate that to my spouse before we get into the heat of the moment? That preparation is critical. There's another quote that says, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail, right, in the relationship. If you're not preparing a place to heal damaged areas, if you're not preparing a place to communicate your hurt and your pain in the heat of the moment, you're going to fail, right? And so that first step in dealing with and tearing down your walls is to prepare for it. Build that solid foundation. Okay? You're quiet today.
I'm listening.
You're listening? Okay. Well, we've both been through this, so I think this is either one of us can talk about this one. Two, you got to and this helped us out. You got to really define yourself in your marriage. Like, you got to set standards in your relationship. You got to set a baseline. So if I'm defining myself and I'm defining the standards of my relationship, and this helps you tear down that wall, is that the stuff that builds my wall up is not a part of my relationship. It's not a part of my standard. So my standard is my true north. If I get lost, I can always turn to that standard to guide me. Right. So when I'm preparing to tear down this wall, I got to make a part of that wall the definition of who I am, the definition of what my relationship, what my marriage stands for. So in that true north piece, then I become even killed, right? So I know where true north is. If I fall off balance, I have a place to return to. I know when my wall is coming up. I got to be conscious of that and begin to tear it back down. I know when that begins to rise up in me, that flesh begins to come up, I'm getting angry. Okay, I'm just going to shun you. I'm going to build that wall around you. I'm not going to let you in. Because I'm conscious of that, I now can attack it and begin to tear it back down. Right.
And it's not an easy task, that's for sure, especially if you've been doing it for a while and it becomes a habit, you know, and it's a bad habit. It becomes a habit. So you just, I think, you know, what Tim said, just being aware and just checking yourself. Like me, I have to talk to myself a lot and check myself, especially when I'm in a vulnerable emotional place, because I automatically want to do what works for me, you know, and you know, changing that mindset is challenging, but it's doable, you know. Yeah.
And then this third one, I'm surprised that a lot of couples don't do this, but it's that having an action plan. Like, it's so important. It's like, I don't take your relationship for granted. Don't let it just happen, but actually plan what's going to happen. There's some areas that you get hurt on simply because you don't have a plan. We don't know how to communicate, so we're just going to communicate any kind of way. And when that communication hurts me, then I respond to it. Okay, now I got to change. But what if there was a plan for how we communicated? And then in that action plan, I know that when I'm vulnerable, I lose hope, right? So what if you had a plan, an action plan, where you can find ways to gain hope? What's your support system look like? You know, how do you encourage yourself when you start getting low? And so in that action plan, it addresses certain things that may pop up that could damage or hurt you, and teaches you how to respond in a positive way, in an optimistic manner, in a way that builds your relationship instead of tearing it down. Really, there's very minimal reasons why a relationship cannot work, right? And a lot of those pieces, a lot of those ingredients that makes a relationship work is there for you, but your wall discredits that. So we want you to work on that. Make sure that you take heed to this advice, and we'll see you on the next post.